My name is Lorraine Kahn. I'm a 58-year-old white woman. I live in Upland, California. I have 4 children. I'm an elementary school teacher, and I'm a proud Democrat.
As a woman, what have been some of your greatest desires?
I hope that this doesn't sound corny, but material things are not anything that I've ever really desired in my life. But having 4 children, my biggest desire was just to make sure that they were safe and had everything that they needed while I was raising them. And now that they're all adults, that they do the same for their children and that they just live lives where they're good, kind, and helpful people.
We know that men and women differ biologically, but what are some of their fundamental differences?
It's an interesting question. Just from living with a man, because I'm married, men and women are different. There are a lot of differences. First of all, I think women just carry so much with them emotionally. Men can compartmentalize all of the things and they can just separate it and they can put things away. They act like they're not bothered. We women stress over things. And sometimes it's frustrating living with a man who isn't on that same wavelength as you. And I also think that women are much more sentimental than men. And I don't mean about romantic love and Valentine's Day, but I just think that women hold things closer to their hearts than men do. And for that major reason, I'm really glad I'm a woman and not a man, because those things just mean so much to me.
And are men and women interchangeable?
No, I don't think men and women are interchangeable because we both bring such different things to the table. I mean, that's why we work so well together, because we are so different, but they're not interchangeable. I mean, you get certain things from a man that you can't get from a woman, and vice versa, I think. So I would say absolutely not.
What are the differences between how you dated when you were in your 20s and how young men and women date today?
I think there's a huge difference from just watching how my kids dated and listening to their friends talk, and they are very open with me. We have a very open relationship. I mean, there is all kind of fucking and sex going on all randomly. Now, maybe that happened when I was a kid. I didn't know about it. I don't know. I think we lived with our parents sitting on our shoulders, and we just didn't have the fun. I mean, not that it's always fun, but we just didn't do the things that kids do today. They just don't have the restrictions that we felt we had on our lives. It's very casual now, where I don't think it was when we were kids.
Who taught you about sex?
When I was in the 5th grade, we had sex ed in school. Well, it wasn't really sex ed. It was just about getting your period and things like that. So when the letter came home to my mom, she kind of tossed a book written by Kotex across the table at me and told me to read it. If I had any questions, to come find her. That was the extent of any kind of talk we had about physical changes, sex. So I must have learned from my girlfriends, because I didn't learn at home.
Who taught your children about sex?
I did, because my ex-husband could not be trusted to teach them, in my opinion. So I taught them about sex. My current husband is mortified when I talk about this, but I showed my 3 sons how to put condoms on bananas. I showed my daughter the same, because they had to know these things. We talked about everything from intercourse to having babies to sexually transmitted diseases, and I was real proud of myself. I think I did a good job.
Do you believe women are more educated about sex today or less?
I think they're more educated about sex today, but I think there's so much more we can educate, so many more ways that we can educate them. And it annoys me, being an elementary school teacher, that I can't talk, because at the school where I teach, 6th graders are engaging in sexual activity. And there's so many restrictions on what we can teach them, and their parents aren't teaching them. And the things and the questions that they ask us, it's just ridiculous. So I think we know our kids know more now than we did when we were kids, but we could do a much better job educating them.
Fewer and fewer people are choosing to marry in today's society. Why do you believe that is?
I think that there isn't the stigma attached to being unmarried or single as there was when we were growing up. I grew up on the East Coast in an Italian neighborhood. I was, if you weren't engaged and planning a wedding by the time you were 24, you were a loser. Like, no one was ever going to marry you. So you had this short time between graduating college and 24 to get your act together. And you know, if you were single, people talk like maybe there was something wrong with you, especially men. Every single man was gay. Every single man was gay. And I don't think that is true today. I think that people have that option. We're not as focused on what people's marital status is.
Is this phenomenon a good thing or a bad thing for women? Explain.
I think it's a really good thing for women because it allows women to have time and space to do what they want to do with their lives. Nobody expects them to be a housewife at 25 years old with 3 little kids. They can pursue their careers. They can live any way they want to. I think it's a wonderful thing for women.
Your daughter wants to live with her boyfriend. She comes to you for advice. What do you tell her?
I would absolutely encourage my daughter to live with her boyfriend. I think that it's a good thing for a couple to find out if they're compatible. And the only way you're really going to know that is if you live with somebody day in and day out and see all the quirks that they bring into a relationship. And so I would totally encourage her.
Is romantic love a myth? Explain.
I'm not sure what romantic love is, because when I think of romantic love, I think of flowers and candy and negligees and candles. And I don't know if that's really love. I mean, it's fun, but I think true love is when you're there when your partner has cancer to take care of them, or your partner breaks his leg and you have to help him shower every day. To me, that is what real love is, when you're there in the down and dirty. So romantic love, I think that's lust. I think it's a myth.
Let's generalize for a minute. What would you say men in general do wrong in a marriage?
I think men expect their wives to take care of them like their mothers did. And I think that more now that I see my married sons and how they kind of sit back and wait for their wives to take care of them. And it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad to watch that, because I hoped I would have raised them better, but that's what I think. I think they just sit back and wait to be taken care of.
Okay. And what would you say women in general do wrong in a marriage?
I think that women don't tell their partners what it is that they want. They sit and just expect that their partners are going to know. And the average man is oblivious to those kind of things. It's not that he wouldn't do what his partner needed, but we don't ask. And we sit around and wait for them to mind read and know what it is we want. And if they don't, then we feel like they don't care about us. So I think women need to talk to their partners about what it is that they need.
Statistics tell us that strong working women with great careers who marry tend to have more problems in their marriages. Why do you believe that is?
I think that that's true, because I think that men still have that feeling that they need to protect their women, and when women are with a strong career are out there, they're taking care of themselves, and sometimes they make more money than their partners do, and they're definitely out meeting people.
For or against abortion? Why or why not?
I'm definitely pro-choice. It doesn't necessarily mean I would get an abortion, but I don't know what situation would arise, or maybe there would be a situation that would arise in my life that I would feel that was my best option. I just don't feel like I want anybody to tell me what choice I can or cannot make. So I would have to say absolutely pro-choice.